The Film Crickets are intended for mature audiences. Any guests on the Film Crickets do not necessarily share the same opinions as the Film Crickets. It's time for the Film Crickets with Jay Fortier, Chris Martineau, and Melanie Howerton. On this week's episode, it's just Chris and Melanie. And as we roll through the month of October, they continue with the theme of horror by reviewing the 1999 American supernatural horror film, Stir of Echoes. Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Film Crickets, where the podcast where we look at films from the 80s and 90s and we decide whether or not they hold up to the test of time. I am co-host Chris Martineau, joined by other co-host Melanie Howerton. Say hello, Melanie.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. Jay is off again this weekend. He's a busy guy. My God. So we have picked up the slack. We have no guests. It's just Melanie and I. And we have decided to explore a movie called Stir of Echoes, a Kevin Bacon joint. Before we get into the Kevin Bacon game, Melanie, have you ever played the Kevin Bacon game?
Oh, yeah, it's almost impossible. They started going into it in trivia. I'm like, I'm not writing all this down because it's going to go on for like 10 miles. Kevin Bacon worked with this person, and this person worked with this person, and that person worked with this person. This person worked with Kevin Bacon on this person. Like, it's on this movie.
It was kind of a stoner game when the internet was young, and you could actually look all this stuff up and not have to like wait to figure it out before the days of Wikipedia. Back in the day when you wondered where Tom Petty came from, and for a long time you're like, I heard it's Galveston, Texas, and it's not. It's Florida, but whatever the case may be, or you don't have to wait for information. You can just kind of get it right away. But so we decided on Stir of Echoes, and I'd never seen the movie. So anyway, let's go history here. So I've already said it. We usually go at this point. What's your history of this movie? I'll tell you what my history was. My history with this movie was, hey, that's a cool poster. And then I'd go in the video store to rent videos. And I'm like, hey, that's a cool video box. And then never watch it and never go see the movie. And it's not that I didn't want to. It really looked intriguing. And the scuttlebutt from my friends that did see it said, it's okay. I'm like, well, is it good? They're like, it's all right. I'm like, all right. So then it just kind of faded away. And when Melanie brought it up, maybe we should do Stir of Echoes. I'm like, well, this is an excuse to finally see this movie. It had the awesome video box cover. So that's my history with it. Never saw it. First time was yesterday. Melanie, what's your deal with Stir of Echoes?
I've seen it multiple times. I don't own it. I don't know how many times I've seen it. I know.
Where would you see it if you don't? How many did you rent it a bunch of times?
No, it's just been on TV and stuff.
I've never seen it on TV. Okay,
it's been on TV, and I don't remember the first time I ever watched it. I don't know if it was like it's probably a VHS tape or something that I had rented or something like that. But it was just kind of one of those things where I know I watched it a few years ago, and then I was kind of going through some movies that were from the 80s and 90s, and there was like a billion that came up that I was looking at, and I just mentioned that one. Sure. So it was good because it was free. We didn't have to rent it. Absolutely.
Free V. Love it.
Yeah.
Got right on the cusp. This is 1999. So this is like Matrix. Again, we mentioned before, this is the era of the Blair Witch Project. This is the era of Sixth Sense. So there is this renaissance of movies, and here we're seeing Kevin Bacon again, and I don't remember he's been in 1,000 things.
Yeah.
But usually not in a lead role. Like, we see him a lot. He was like Murder in the First, I'm thinking. Remember Murder in the First with Christian Slater?
Why does that sound so familiar?
Murder in the First was Kevin Bacon on trial for murdering somebody, and he played like a barely literate Southerner. And Christian Slater, this is when Christian Slater could still get roles. And he was his defense lawyer. Okay. And the question really was, did Kevin Bacon actually kill this person?
Yeah.
But he wasn't the lead. Christian Slater was the lead. And we saw him in A Few Good Men. And we saw him in, look, we're not going to do 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon here. Yeah. But he's been around. He's been around the block.
He's been everything.
He's been in everything. He's always enjoyable. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I can't I can think of crappy movies he's been in, but I can't really take anything. I cannot bag on Kevin Bacon. He's
And
not
I feel
always
like
the
personally, he's a good guy. Like I've never
yeah
heard anything bad about him. I think him and his wife are just the cutest couple. I
hmm
actually follow both of them on Instagram.
yeah yeah, and he'll do the. He was in the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special
Yeah.
on Disney Plus, and he was adorable in that.
I didn't see it.
So you know, you can't really. What are you gonna say about?
He was in The Invisible Man. He was an asshole in that.
He was a real piece of shit in that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Rapey, Invisible
Yes.
Man movie.
Yes.
Ugh, ugh. But versatility. He can be just as
Anything.
cute as a button, or he can be a complete dirtbag, and he's good at both. So again, nothing I'm gonna say about this movie is gonna besmirch Kevin Bacon.
And I
So
feel
let's
like he
get.
was very believable in this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was such a good actor in this, I think.
He's a good actor, but I do have some complaints
Okay.
when we get into it about Mr. Bacon.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring home the bacon, and I'm going to read the IMDb breakdown of this movie. So we've got a stir of echo. Oh, sorry, I keep saying the book name. It makes more. The book name is a better title than this, just by adding the A.
Oh.
So the title of this movie is Stir of Echoes. It came from a book called A Stir of Echoes, which to me is cuckoo, but why the director decided to leave off the A, I don't know. But anyway, Stir of Echoes came out in 1999. It's rated R. Comes in at 1 hour and 39 minutes. Has one of the coolest posters ever. I really love this poster.
I got to see this freaking poster because
Go look it up while I do the. Yeah, do the.
I
look
think
it up
I've
while
seen. Isn't it just his face with stuff around him?
It's his face in a doorway, like in his little like row house that he lives in the Chicago neighborhood. So after being hypnotized by his sister-in-law, a man begins seeing haunting visions of a girl's ghost, and a mystery begins to unfold around him. Now, it was written and directed by David Koepp, and I have to do a quick aside on David Koepp. David Koepp is a Hollywood stud. He has written so many hit movies, it's bananas. He wrote Toy Soldiers, Death Becomes Her, Jurassic Park, Carlito's Way, The Paper, The Shadow, Mission Impossible, The Trigger Effect, Lost World, Jurassic Park, Snake Eyes, Stir of Echoes, Panic Room, Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Secret Window, War of the Worlds, Zathura, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Angels and Demons, Jack Ryan, Mordecai, Inferno, The Mummy. I just watched The Mummy today.
Really?
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. He is a stud. He doesn't have a lot of directing credits to his name, but he has been absolutely everywhere. And this is one of his only directorial adventures. So it was written and directed by David Koepp, co-written by Richard Matheson, starring Kevin Bacon, Zachary David Cope as the adorable little boy you can see ghosts, Catherine Irby as Maggie, Eileena Douglas, Connor Farrell, Kevin Dunn, who we know from he's the father in the Transformers movies, and a bunch of other people I don't necessarily ring a lot of bells on. But that is Stir of Echoes. Did you get to see the poster, Melanie?
I did. There was actually numerous ones. They were all a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool poster. It's dark and it's kind of orangey, and it looks like it's a terrifying movie.
Yeah.
It's not that terrifying. So look, okay. So let's talk about this. So the premise is that, in case you didn't notice, hey Melanie, question: did you notice that this movie takes place in Chicago?
Yes.
Did you see that? They kept reminding me over and over and over and over again that it was oh, did you also notice that all of his friends are blue collar working guys? Did they hint that at you at all?
Yes. And
Every 2 minutes.
People actually complained about that too.
Oh my God.
During the Rotten Tomato reviews, and they were like, "We get it."
Okay, we understand. Like, you're blue collar. By the way, what was there any purpose to him being a phone operator?
I didn't even know he was a freaking phone operator.
Yeah, until he's up on a telephone, like calling his sister-in-law from the actual phone line.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
But I don't know if we have some weird quip on like, well, he communicates. I don't know.
That went right over me.
So first of all, right out of the gate, we already mentioned it. Kevin Bacon does a super job in this movie. I believe he's slowly going crazy. So as it says, his sister-in-law, who's kind of earthy, she's the comic relief of the movie, but she's kind of like new agey. And even though there's nothing new agey about hypnotism, that's what I don't get. What's his sister-in-law's deal? Is she a medium? Is she just new agey?
I think she's taking a class. I think she's more like New Agey.
New Agey, but there's nothing.
Okay,
but there's nothing New Agey about hypnotism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's like, because you know how like some things are like popular like in the olden days, and then they come back again and they're cool again. People want to learn about it and talk about it. I don't know. She was actually in Cape Fear. Remember the one I was wanted to do, but we couldn't find it.
Right.
She was in that, yeah.
She's the one that, she's like one of the girlfriends, and she gets beat up by
real bad,
Robert De Niro. So have you been, or do you know anyone that has been hypnotized? No,
but I would love to learn not to be so worrisome about everything.
Okay, fair enough. Well, see, the thing about hypnotism is, Ray, I'm going to do a trick. Ready? So put your hands out like this.
Like this?
Put your hands like this. Okay, now, I want you to pretend that there is a very strong magnet in between your fingers. And no matter how, so really focus. Look at your fingers. I'm going to try to hypnotize Melanie, everybody. I don't know how to hypnotize people. So you're looking at your finger. Now, focus really, really hard between your fingers.
It's kind of hard because your screen is behind it. It's like blinding me.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I'll do this.
No, it's not you. It's just the screen in general.
It's not you. It's me. I get it. So, so focus on, there's a magnet in between your fingers. And now it's such a strong magnet. And each of your fingers is the North Pole of a magnet, right? Yeah. And you know about North Pole and North Pole, they don't want to get together. So now I want you to imagine that. And there's this I want you to try to really push your fingers together. But there's a magnet in the way. And it's like really hard. Are you doing it?
Do you just want me to pretend?
Like, no. Like imagine no matter how hard you try, you can't get your fingers together. Are you doing it?
I mean, I can.
See, here's the thing. You can't be hypnotized. Because what I just told you was a suggestion.
Yeah.
And if you actually go, like if you're a willing participant and you're going like that, the fact of the matter is there's no friggin' magnet.
Yeah.
So because you did this, or people that can be hypnotized, when they do this move, the person that's doing the hypnosis is saying, oh, this is a person that's susceptible to suggestion.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So if they actually believe I'm telling them there's a magnet, then they're gonna.
I mean, I can pretend and be like, I can't do it.
I know, but there are people that I've seen people get hypnotized.
Yeah.
And like at a show, and that's what he does. And he's like, if you're actually doing this, like you think there's a magnet, like if anybody goes, there's no magnet, then you're never going to be hypnotized because you're not open to.
I know. I don't think I ever would be. And you know how sometimes when people like. I know this sounds, it's totally kind of different, but you know how like you see movies and girls pass out all the time from pain or from like shock or whatever. I don't feel like my body would have that in me to do that either. I feel like no matter how horrible the pain was or whatever I saw, I feel like my body would just be like, what?
Right.
I just, I don't know. I just feel like I could never do that either.
I think that, well, it's because your mind is strong enough to say, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to do this other thing. So I'm in pain, but I'm going to keep moving forward with what I need to do. Mm-hmm. And I think with hypnosis is that you have to have somebody that's willing to be hypnotized. My point to all this is that Kevin Bacon, by the way, if you notice, he's a little blue collar, and he's kind of like down to earth, and he's kind of like hates his life a little bit, and he's very like, I got to get to work, and my kid.
I'm an ordinary person. Yeah.
I'm an ordinary. Yeah. How many times? I'm an ordinary person. An ordinary person that has to get up for work and bust his balls and we can't wait till Friday so he can get hammered with his friends across the street with the baby monitor.
Neighborhood parties, it looks like there's like every weekend.
All the time. With police, they're always drinking outside.
I kind of like that. I thought I'm like, that's kind of a cool neighborhood to live in. Whereas like every day, it's kind of like, what is that when we were watching that John Travolta movie, but every day they went to that bar.
Modern Day Cowboy.
Like, But I'm like, imagine that you just walk out your door and you're like, hey, how you doing?
Like I never lived in a cul-de-sac, and I live in a cul-de-sac now in Maryland, and I was kind of hoping that of my neighborhood, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of disappointing. You know
I
what I mean?
live in the neighborhood too, and I'm kind of close to a cul-de-sac, but it's not like that either.
It's like, damn it. I kind of like, what if we all like closed off the street and just had a barbecue in the middle of the cul-de-sac?
I think that would be so cool, yeah.
It would be, but no. Anyway, my point is that he's so blue collar and he's so, we can't make ends meet, and I'm going to get extra shifts at the line on the telephone line, blah, blah, blah. He'd never, he goes to a party and his sister-in-law, who he has a tenuous relationship with, I don't think they like each other very much. I don't think they hate each other. I think they just annoy each other.
Yeah, they know each other, yeah.
She said, hey, I'm going to hypnotize you. And he's hammered. And gets hypnotized. Like I'm sorry.
I think though the way they did it, as like I said, I think it's because he already had this inside of him anyway. Like his little boy got these gifts from him. Okay. So I think that when I was just watching it, I kind of felt like he used to be more open and he used to be able to see things. Mm-hmm. And again, it's family related. Obviously, the mom doesn't have it. The little boy got it from his father, and then like I was saying in the book, the little girl that's born, she has it too. Yeah. So I think that like he already had it, so it didn't take much, especially since he was drinking, and you know like to be able to just let the guard down enough to, I don't know.
Did I miss that in the movie that they talked about that?
About him have like coming from him.
Did I miss that?
No, but you can tell that it came from him, and even the mother says that to the guy she meets in the cemetery. Okay, like you know what I mean? Like
I may have missed that part, but still, it doesn't. To me, that doesn't matter because, again, the sister-in-law only barely knows how to hypnotize people, and so I guess that makes that work. But I guess it made
it easier. She probably wouldn't have been able to do it with anybody else, maybe. Okay. I do have a problem with the hypnotist part, though.
Go ahead. What?
Okay, so she was like, how's your hand? I stabbed you with a safety pin, and I told you to bleed on one side and not the other. You cannot control your bodily blood functions like that. No. It's not like you're just saying raise your left hand and not your right. You cannot you cannot tell veins inside of your blood that you can't bleed on one side, but you can bleed on the other. That's impossible.
No, of course not.
I don't care if you're hypnotized or anything. Like you can't control how your vein is going to bleed when it's punctured. That makes sense.
And that's my point, is that they seem to want to make hypnotism this really supernatural thing, and it's not. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing for us to think, even if Kevin Bacon could see dead people back in the day and just simply lost that childish, naivete to know, that you can't see ghosts anymore once you get older because you get logical. Yeah, it's that they're making hypnotism this thing, like a seance, or like they're using the friggin' Ouija board, and they're not. Okay, So I kind of had an issue with that. So anyway, so now...
Wait, I had one thing.
Go, what? Tell me.
When he wakes up and his friend goes, you were crying, everything, man. It was hysterical. And then he looks at him and he goes, it was very moving.
Yes.
So funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, a good bunch of guys. This fucking guy, can't believe it. He's crying and stuff. Yeah. Sorry. And if I could do my Chicago accent. A lot of Chicago accents in this movie that only kind of come and go. Kevin Bacon's supposed to be from Chicago and doesn't really sell it all the time. It does kind of come and go.
I think they're all just kind of sound like Northerners, you know what I mean? Like,
but they're not supposed to be Northerners.
I think it doesn't matter like where it comes from as long as they sound like they're from the North.
Well, it's the Midwest, so it's got to be.
You're
it's
right.
got,
they sound like they're more from like
Boston,
New Jersey, or Boston or New Jersey or something. Yeah,
the Chicago over there in the over in the sausage factory over there, Dubbers, that sort of thing.
They don't sound like that at all.
No, they don't. So it's not real good, but whatever. So they're from Chicago. They are blue collar, and again, the woman is pregnant. Has nothing to do with anything. They made a big deal out of it at the beginning. It has nothing to do with anything. Mm-hmm. And now, once we get into it, apparently, due to a post-hypnotic suggestion, he now has his mind open to spirits. And they're the spirits in the house that his young son, who's adorable,
has already been talking to. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's already been talking, which is creepy. No doubt about it. Small children talking to air is always creepy. Just like a dog looking in a corner at no one.
And why doesn't anybody ever ask this kid questions?
I don't know.
I mean, if my kid was talking to no one, I wouldn't just automatically assume, oh, whatever, he's just little. I'd be like, who are you talking to? You know what I mean? Who's standing over there? Because I want to know. And the kid has all the answers throughout the entire movie. They don't need to talk to the guy in the cemetery. He doesn't need to find out what's going on. All they have to do is talk to this kid. This kid knows exactly everything what's going on. He's right there in front of them.
Okay, I'll give you that, but that then raises a question for me. And to me, what I think is, while I think the script is written well, I don't think David Koepp directs the movie very well. I think the movie's kind of a mess in its tone. I don't know that it knows where it's going. All it does know is that there's a murder mystery. So this ghost child is been murdered and is basically sending signals to Kevin Bacon through these horrible images of either precognition, being able to see the future, or seeing the past, due to energy vibes. And again, we're not real clear on the rules of this, of his psychic powers. What can he see? What can he see? When can he see it? When can he? We don't know.
Yeah.
So I had a problem with that, but you're right. So let me ask you this. The whole movie it's a murder mystery encased around a supernatural theme with horrific images. Mm-hmm. So, and we have to watch Kevin Bacon figure the whole thing out. Much
that
to
guy in the cemetery does say though he can't control it. It comes in like it's like he's standing in like I don't think he said a tunnel with like a flashlight. Like it will come and go. He'll get an image here and there.
Sure. So he's explaining The Shining, so he's ripping off kind of The Shining a little bit, but
yes, but this book came out first.
Oh well, which one's more popular? So, but my point is that if we are to follow Kevin Bacon's hero journey to eventually finding this body, what happened to this little girl in the house that he lives in now? What's the point of the kid then? What's the point? What does the kid do to forward the story? Nothing.
No, it's just because it's a family. It's just because it's a family. They want you to know he's got a family.
So what? We know that.
The kid does see things. That I don't know why they don't ask him more things. Like there was one kind of thing where the mom was being super annoying and he was trying to get questions out of the kid. Yep. And he's like, I don't want to answer these because it scares mommy. Just freaking, obviously then she needs to be like, well, what do you have to, I don't know why she doesn't ever want to know what the kid has to say.
Right.
She never wants to know what he has to say at all. And like, nobody ever asked this kid anything. That kind of was irritating to me.
Melanie, I think it kind of, I'll give you this. They're not exactly the best parents ever. They're always, so they, I mean, whatever, this is your choice. I mean, it's the neighborhood, right? Well, neighborhood, it's a safe neighborhood. So like they make sure the big kid goes to bed. Then they go to a party across the street where they get loaded, whatever, that's your choice. And the way they make sure is that they have the baby monitor with them. Look, if
they had a babysitter too.
No, but at the beginning of the movie, they just have a baby monitor. Now, granted, you have a life as an adult.
I would never do that in a million years.
What you do is you switch back and forth. Mom goes for an hour, then we switch. Dad goes for an hour, then you switch. And then that's how you do. They don't walk around with a baby monitor. That's insane. Yeah. The range isn't that far anyway. And then, like, all this stuff goes down. And then the next Friday, they're like, oh, we need to get a sitter for next Friday. Like, how about you stay home?
Yeah.
Like once or twice. I don't know.
I literally, I thought of the same thing because when I first moved to Georgia, I lived in another neighborhood that was close to another neighborhood. And I met this girl. She was actually from Massachusetts. I met her in a store. So we hit it off. She lived literally right next to me. So her neighborhood was having a block party. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, do you want to come? And I walked down there and like literally couldn't believe it. Like she had a baby and I think she had a baby and two small kids. Mm-hmm. And she left them in the house by themselves and she had the baby monitor.
No.
I couldn't believe it.
No.
I mean, to each its own, but I'm too paranoid of a mom to be able to do that. I couldn't do that.
It's not a matter of being paranoid.
Not if somebody like broke in your house at that one point and took your kids. How could you ever live with yourself?
No, you just.
Or if your kid choked to death or anything, you know what I mean? Like
if it's literally across the street and you have a partner, husband or not, you do shifts. Mm-hmm. You do shifts. That's all. And when they don't come in there in the hour that you said, then you're in trouble. Like you're gonna get screamed at by your spouse, which you deserve. Yeah. But let's get into screaming at by spouses. So Kevin Bacon, again, he gets this seed of power, this premonition seed, and he keeps seeing visions that are horrific, and they get worse and worse, and so now he can't sleep and he can't go to work, and I don't blame him. That's fine. At the beginning, once he starts losing his mind, then it's a very, again, ripoff of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Now he's drinking gallons and gallons of orange juice, and he can only sleep on the couch, and he can't. I'm like, okay, it's Dreyfus from Close Encounters, but okay, whatever.
Yeah. He was missing the mashed potatoes.
Yes, exactly, right? Or making the sculptures out of clay. But the point of fact is that I don't know the movie is directed well. I think it's written well. I don't think it's directed well because at first the wife is very distraught about the current state of her husband for a lot of reasons. He's not going to work. He doesn't talk. He's introverted now. He doesn't talk to anybody. He's just consumed by this. And she's really like having like when she talks to her sister about it, she's like crying and really worried and all that stuff. And then like maybe 15 minutes later, Kevin Bacon's doing some weird ass shit and she just looks annoyed.
Actually, to me, she looked annoyed for most of the thing, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, wouldn't you just want to help him? Like, he's sitting in the backyard digging forever, and she's like, "What are you digging for?" And I kept thinking, I wrote this down. You know what he's digging for. You know what I mean? You already know exactly what's going on. But it was kind of funny too. At the same time, when Kevin Bacon, the little boy's digging, and she goes, "Don't worry, he's not over there."
That was actually good. I like that.
Kind of cute. I like that part.
I thought that was good. Don't worry, you won't see the body over there.
I thought that was so cute. Don't worry, he's not doing anything over there. It's not there.
Right.
But she knew exactly what he was doing. So like, I don't know why she wouldn't want to just help him as much as possible just to get it over with. Because they like that guy from the cemetery. He even said that like that basically this ghost is gonna bother the shit out of him until he finally does what she wants or it wants or whatever. Yeah. So it's never going to leave you guys alone. It's never going to leave him alone. It's going to make him worse and worse and worse and drive him crazy till it gets what it wants. Yeah. So help him to get over this. You know what I mean? Like, you want your life back, then help him look for this freaking thing. And you think the ghost could have said walls instead of dig.
Yeah. Like, that'd be nice.
He was on the goddamn wall, not digging all over the place.
You're right. Most people don't dig into walls. I would have been pissed off. I'm like,
you
just say
wall.
And all of this could have been prevented if you just asked your child.
What happened to her? Where was she?
Happened to the ghost? Talk to the ghost. Tell me what the deal is.
Yeah.
So to me,
he didn't actually talk to her, and apparently she was a teenager who was mildly. What do you call that?
They said delayed, but not the nice word. But the fact of the matter is, when we see her interacting.
She seems normal.
She's quote unquote normal.
I think she's just slow. She's probably somebody that, when they're like that, they trust people way too much and they're just too friendly, too nice. They trust people too much, or a little bit. Maybe she's 13, but she's acting like she's like 10. You know what I mean?
Oh boy, she looked about 20.
Yeah.
That's like are you aware of Harry Potter? You watch Harry Potter movies? So Moaning Myrtle.
Yes.
Right. Moaning Myrtle's like 35 years old.
No way.
Yeah, the actress is actually like 35.
Are you?
She plays
serious?
like a 12-year-old. Yeah.
Oh my god.
She can just nail the part, and you don't see her in like physical form anyway, so they can kind of mess with it. Yeah. But yeah, she's like 35. Anyway, funny. so yeah, that's what I mean. Like, this movie could have, and again, without it, there's no movie. But the tone, like, I'm supposed to feel. I had a hard time feeling bad for anybody. I liked Kevin Bacon. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy Kevin Bacon. I thought he was doing
great. Him.
And I bought that he was going crazy. Yeah. I just had a hard time like caring about his plight because it just wasn't sold to me the proper way. Like, at first he just seems like a dumbass, and then he seems like he's crazy, and then he seems I don't know. And the wife, she's all over the map. Like, is she annoyed by him? Does she want to get divorced? Is she going to leave? Is she going to stay? Is she going to help him? Is she not? And then there's the little boy. Even the little boy's all over the map. Sometimes he's aloof. Right? Talking to no one. Mm-hmm. And other times he's saying weird stuff like, I don't want to talk about this because it'll upset mommy.
Or don't be afraid of it, daddy. He goes, you're awake now. Don't be afraid of it, daddy. Right there. Go ask your kid. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? But then there's a scene where like he's watching TV and she's like 5 more minutes and he does that. Oh, like a typical kid. Like, he responds to his mother's direction, like with attitude. Yeah. So which kid is this? Are you trying to be Haley Joel Osment, or are we trying to be like a kid from Home Alone? Like, are you Macaulay Culkin, or are you the other guy? Like, I didn't know how I was supposed to feel about the kid, except that he was adorable most of the time.
Jay had a good piece of trivia about that kid. He told me.
What's that?
Because my mom even said, I wonder if that kid's in anything else. And The Wedding Singer is one of my favorites. And he's the little kid, he said, in The Wedding Singer that says, hey, Lydia, you're a bitch.
Oh, all right. Well,
That's
we
him.
Graduated. All right. When was The Wedding Singer?
I mean, the 80s? No, it was made to be in the 80s, but it wasn't in the 80s.
Was it 2000s or late 90s?
I can't remember, but I want to do that one day.
I love it when they make little children swear. I think it's hysterical.
Yeah, I know, right?
I adore it.
Because you don't expect. He's like, hey, and she's like, all like, hi, and then he's like, you're a bitch.
You're a bitch. Yeah. All right. So I mentioned to Melanie before. Again, we're not talking about it holding up. I was just kind of a little underwhelmed by the movie. I thought that, like I said, the best part was Kevin Bacon. And everything else was just, I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
I was just having a hard time sinking my teeth into anything. And one of my final points here is once we get to Kevin Bacon's mind has been opened. He sees a bunch of stuff. He finally goes back to his sister-in-law and says, "Close my mind."
Yeah.
So she does hypnosis again, poorly, because she doesn't actually know how to do hypnosis. Yeah. And all it does is open it wider, and that's when he gets the vision on the screen that says "dig."
Yes.
Right? And then for the next 15 to 20 minutes of this movie, he's digging. And I didn't find that
everywhere.
I know, and I get it. And that's the thing. I get where he's coming from. He's getting a supernatural urge to I must dig. And even says it to his wife, and I believe him when he says, "You don't understand. I have to do this right now." Much like Dreyfus, like I have to build this tower, and I don't know why, and it's driving me crazy. Yeah. I must dig these holes, and I don't know why. I'm ruining my house. I'm ruining my backyard, and all that stuff. And it was just
trying to show him how crazy he's going now. How
I know, but it was him, like at that point. To me, I get where it's coming from, but the way it was sold to me, I didn't really care that much, and how much that he was like digging.
Yeah.
And then the grandmother dies. Oh, yeah, so she leaves, and he says, "I can't leave because I have to dig." Oh, that's okay. That's a little rough. And I love the telephone conversation that he has, like, "All right, I'm gonna come get you." No, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
don't come back. No, I'm coming right now. It's like shit. But again, that sets up the end of the movie. So Melanie, why is there a dead girl walled up in the basement of Kevin Bacon's home?
Because the guy one funny part was, this kind of goes with it. Remember when he was digging and he was swearing and making all this noise over there? The guy across the street is like, "It's a rented house." Yeah. Because apparently that guy that said that and the other guy that shot himself at the end, they're all friends of his. That's what they do. They flip houses. Yep. Spare time. So they flipped his house. So when they were flipping his house, because I never caught this the first time. I wondered the same thing. Why was she in there? I don't even know if I realized why she was in there, but I know it's because when the house was actually in the process of being flipped, it wasn't done yet. Both of those two guys' sons got together, went into that house to kind of drink and party by themselves. It wasn't done yet. Pulled that girl in off the street. So they killed her. They both went to their dads and told them what they did. And they didn't want their lives to be ruined. So their dads are the ones that walled that girl up in the house as it was being renovated.
So that's
why she's there.
Right. So it's a terrible story.
And she was already a ghost in the house to begin with that the kid could see. He just couldn't see it yet until he was hypnotized.
Right. Which, again, I don't... if you just... Which one is it? Is it going to be the kid or is it going to be Kevin Bacon? But so I dug... See, that's the thing. Like, I dug that part of the story. By the time we get to the end of the movie, the things that I was annoyed by, that, hey, this is a Chicago neighborhood and we all stick together, that sort of thing. And the block party with the two guys who walled up the body of that basically molested and then murdered girl. They're the ones that are the most happy-go-lucky, but one of them is happy-go-lucky because they're just a scumbag. And the other one's happy-go-lucky because he's overcompensating for his own grief and guilt of what they had to do. And so when you see that and you see him on the step and he says, this was a good neighborhood. This was a good neighborhood. One of the characters just wants it to be like it was. Yeah. And so in order to do that, you brick up your secrets so hopefully no one finds them. But the secrets always come out. Yeah. Sorry, folks.
He said, because they were going to kill you, and I couldn't let a cold-blooded murder. The other one was an accident. This would have been a cold-blooded murder. And he goes, it's funny because he goes, this is a decent neighborhood. It's like at the end.
Well, that's the thing. Like, he wants it to be like it was. He wants it to be where we can have block parties and we don't have secrets. And these things didn't happen. But the fact of the matter is it did happen. And secrets never stay hidden forever, basically, by and large. So the theme of that is great. And the whole thing is that it's a murder mystery up to that point, and then the pieces all come together at the end, so that all the little things that you've seen along the way come together. Yeah. The trouble is, because of, in my opinion, the direction of the movie, I didn't feel it at the end. I didn't go, oh my God. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that. Unlike, have you seen, and we're going to do TMI in a minute here, but Have you seen any on Netflix? Any of the Mike Flanagan movies? Have you seen House on Haunted Hill, Haunting a Hill House?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Haunting a Hill House is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And granted, that's 9 hours.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, because it's drawn out, but by the end of it, when all the pieces come together, I was emotionally crushed at the end of that movie, because it's about, there are supernatural things happening to the family, and there are real terrible things happening to the family. Have you seen Midnight Mass?
Nah, I don't know about that one.
All right, Midnight Mass is better than The Haunting of Hill House. You should watch Midnight Mass. I actually, there's only 4 times I've cried uncontrollably in movies.
It's just a movie. It's not a series, right?
It's a series. It's long.
Oh.
So
Okay.
each one's about an hour, and there's about 7 episodes. It is crushing. Oh boy, it's vampires and the church.
Oh, this sounds a little familiar.
Oh, it's so good. Watch Midnight Mass.
Okay.
And it's so scary, and by the end your heart is crushed, and you love that it's being crushed.
So what you're saying is that was more shocking, and this is not shocking.
That's what I'm saying. Like the way these Netflix series come together is that they give you little hints of things, and you can't wait for them to tell you what all of that means.
Yeah.
And so by the end of Midnight Mass, you're going, oh my God. And then you do this, and you realize that's crazy. And that's what happens in this movie. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I sure. So anyway, so that's it. What else you got? It seems like you're going to say something.
I just want to say 2 things. Well,
Yep.
One thing, my mom kept saying, why is he breaking up that living room floor? Because there's a basement. Why would you tear up a living room floor? There's a basement underneath that. What's going to be under? So anyway, then the other thing was, I wrote down one thing, that the guy who ended up being the kind of not good guy, but the better guy at the end that saved him. I was remembering when they were at the block party, and he was sitting there talking about his son and how he's so proud of him, and like how, he's football and whatever he's going to end up doing with his life and whatever. But he goes, look at the quality of tail he's getting. He said he passed me in that department when he was 14, talking about his son who tried to rape and murder a disabled girl. But the point was, like, when he was, he's, you can see where he gets it from. Do you know what I mean? Like, where he just thinks it's okay to be like, yeah, this is who I want right now, and that's whatever. Like, I don't know. It's just the way that guy was. Like, I mean, I hate it when people talk to their kids like that and bring them up in that way. It's like super disrespectful. It's like you're making them like this horrible person. I mean, who knows what else he said to? But look at the quality of tail he's getting. He's passed me in that department when he was 14. I thought that was such a gross thing to say.
Doesn't he have like his girlfriend or his fiance is like?
Yeah, she's always watching him look at other girls all the time and say things and all
kinda
that.
Gross.
Too.
He's
kind of
gross.
His wife. I thought it was his girlfriend. I don't know, but then like I think that's her kid too.
Is it?
The one that shot himself, because she went ballistic.
Oh, that's true.
Ran over there after he shot him. So I caught that too, because at first, like, the whole time I thought it was just a girlfriend. Then I was like, oh my God, are they a married couple and that's their kid? Like, I don't know.
I didn't care much about them too. I guess that's probably indicative of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have that much for.
Okay. Ready?
It's time for TMI with Melanie.
Listen to this. I am in the bathroom right before the movie starts.
I can't hear it.
And I'm in the stall, and there's no toilet paper.
And mine are at home in a display case above my bed. TMI, my friends.
TMI? Too much information. Don't go there, but that's lame.
Now, here's Melanie with your timeless movie info.
All right, Melanie, it's trivia time. I know you're prepared. I know you're ready. I know you spent time doing this. So, what you got for me? What you got for me for trivia?
All right, the budget was $12 million. It grossed 21.1.
Really?
They said it didn't grow. Well, they didn't think it grossed a lot because of the Sixth Sense, I guess, that came out like around that same time.
Stole its thunder.
Yeah. Okay, on the couch, the babysitter reads The Shrinking Man by Richard Matheson. That's the author of Stir of Echoes, the basis for this film. The scene where Tom gets angry, it's so funny because my mom noticed this. She goes, I wonder if that was an accident and they just kept it in there. But the scene where Tom gets angry after digging in the backyard and he kicks a bucket towards the wall and it breaks the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was totally not even supposed to happen. It was just a happy accident. And they used it in the film, and Kevin Bacon just stayed in character. I thought that was kind of cute. Yeah.
No, that was a perfect hit.
Perfect, yeah.
It was perfect.
And he just stayed right in character. Like, okay, that was meant to happen. Also in the same scene, Kevin Bacon was in a lot of pain as he pulled a muscle in the back of his neck. I think I even remember him kind of going like this, but several prop lightweight picks were tested for the scene to try to ease his suffering. But in the end, it was opted to use the real and heavier pick as the swings and impact of the prop pick did not look real enough. So they knew it was killing him, and they're like, no, but this looks better.
Yeah, just use it anyway. You'll be all right, Kev.
Anyway, yeah.
Pay the big bucks.
They torture people in movies sometimes.
They do.
In the hypnotism flashback scene, there's a scene of a safety pin being stuck through Tom's hand. This was not a special effect. A stuntman was paid to come in and have a safety pin pushed through his hand for the scene. That's funny because Kevin Bacon was like, I'm not doing that.
That's terrible.
Yeah. In another hypnotist sequence there, when he was hypnotized for the first time, same one. That follows the actual techniques used by professional hypnotists. In order to ensure that the audience hasn't been put to sleep, there's a musical accent at the close of the sequence to wake everyone up.
All right.
Just in case.
Okay. All right, just in case. Oh, boy.
Yeah. When they were setting up the scene where Maggie leaves Jake at her relative's house, it was realized that they had gone over the number of hours that the child actor that plays Jake could actually work due to strict Hollywood labor laws. Mm-hmm. So they ran around from house to house in the neighborhood that they were filming in to try to find a kid who looked enough like him.
Oh my God.
To appear as a background character after their parents' approval and a very quick haircut to be able to complete the shot. Isn't that cool?
Wow. All right.
It's funny.
We're
hold on. What does your kid look like? Can we use him for 5 minutes?
Quick. Oh my God.
Can you use a haircut? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Catherine, I'm going to say her name wrong. You know me. Catherine Irbies?
I think it's Irby. Yeah.
Okay. Her tattoo on the back reads T+M, standing for her husband Terry and her daughter Mauve. It features a heart around the letters. This inspired the same exact tattoo placed on the inside of Kevin Bacon's forearm, which stands for the two actors' character, Tom and Maggie. I noticed his. I don't even know if I noticed hers.
I think I do. I know his. I remember seeing his.
Yeah. Kevin Bacon plucks around on a guitar in the film, but in real life, he's actually a skilled guitarist, along with his brother Michael. The Bacon brothers have released over half a dozen albums.
Yep, they have, and he always tries to work that in these later years.
Yeah.
He can sing. He does all right. I mean, whatever.
Every time I see him on Instagram, him and his wife are sitting near a guitar, singing and playing guitar and stuff.
Yeah, they're adorable. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
They are. I love them.
All right. Let's do Final Judgment. So here we go.
It's time now for Final Judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the Final Judgment.
So, Melanie, what do you think? Does the movie hold up to today's standards? Like, how would it do today?
Okay, so today I don't think it would do that good because I feel like some people would think it was kind of slow moving. Things are just so fast paced now, and I don't know. It's hard to compare to certain movies, you know, like from The Conjuring and all that kind of stuff that has, you know, really shocking movements and things like that. But so I'm gonna say no, but at the same time, I will say that I do love it. I always have liked it. I love Kevin Bacon in it. I love how he acts in it, and I think the story itself is good. So I personally like it. But do I think that a lot of other people might feel that same way if it came out today? I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think The Sixth Sense, which came out at the same time, stole its thunder. The Sixth Sense is a better movie. It is a more innovative movie. It tries different things. This is kind of a standard movie. Like there's nothing. It has a beginning, a middle, an end. There's no shock. There's no twist. There's just spooky things that are happening, and watching Kevin Bacon's.
There is a twist. The fact that his friends are responsible for this.
Well, okay, but I mean, not like a mind-blowing twist, you know. Yeah. But I'm with you. There's a twist. Fine. I'll give you that. I think the problem with the movie is that it's been done. This idea has been done a lot since the 2000s. And I was talking to you about this before. There was a show on TV with Jennifer Love Hewitt called The Ghost Whisperer. And this movie is one episode of The Ghost Whisperer. There's an ooky spooky ghost at the beginning, and it's haunting people and scaring people, and you realize that the ghost just needs something done so that it can pass on. And then by the end of the movie, the ooky spooky ghost is now like a normal ghost and is just like a person but in ethereal form, and then goes off into the light. and much to the chagrin of the people that are trying to help the ghosts, because they don't understand, if ghosts are real, they do ooky spooky things because there's no other way to do them.
Yeah.
And so that's like the point of the film. And Ghost Whisperer was on for more seasons than it needed to be on. And we've kind of done this already. So I just don't think so. I think this is one episode of thematic television at best. And I do think at times the movie stretched itself a little bit to fit a runtime. It's exactly an hour and 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think that the writing is good. I don't think it was directed great. I didn't know how I was supposed to feel about it a lot of times. So, and I give that to the director. Again, no shade on David Koepp. He's got more hits than I do, but I just don't think it was probably his best outing. I'll put it that way.
Maybe you're also expecting a little bit too much from it too.
Yeah, because the poster looks so freaking scary.
Yeah, because I said, I've always liked it, but were you paying attention to it by yourself, or were you doing things? Or
no, I was paying attention.
Were you? Yeah,
I was watching.
So I think maybe you just expected it was too high hopes for you, especially knowing that Kevin Bacon was in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I still dug him. I don't know. I think the poster makes it look like it's gonna be like The Conjuring.
Yeah.
And
it's not nothing like that. It's not scary at all like that.
No, not at all. So
no.
So that was our show. Thanks again for listening. I'd like to thank Steve Lavoie for his vocal stylings and Draco and the Malfoys for the opening theme. Again, if you're listening to us and you like us, please share it with your friends, like and subscribe, all that nonsense. Get the word out. Hopefully you like the show. Tune again next week or next time for the next movie that we have. And on behalf of myself and Melanie and Jay, I'd like to say that movies may not age like fine wines, but we drink them anyway. Thanks a bunch. See you next time.
Chirp about movies.